So Riverdale season 7 is on, and I just happened to see the second episode of this season. Now, as we know, the show is not the most critically acclaimed show, but it still has a huge following, and it has managed, or rather thrived, to have a run for 7 seasons. And although they have already announced that this is the last season, people still do say they want more, and I can somehow understand why. I had made one episode on my channel earlier about Riverdale, and those of you who've seen it would know that I do not have a very high opinion about the show, but still I do watch it. In fact, I can't stop watching it. Episode 2 of season 7 was really interesting, and it got me thinking on certain levels. And since there is absolutely no one who I know who watches this show, I thought I'll just roll out this podcast, and maybe someone would watch this or listen to this, and they would discuss, and we can have a conversation about this episode as I share my thoughts about it. So without getting into any massive spoilers, the characters of this show have jumped back to a time which is in the 1950s as it seems, and things are beginning to happen now. I watched the first episode of the season. It was okay, it was fine, but I didn't really get too excited about it. But the second episode really kind of was more fun to watch for quite a few reasons. First and foremost, it kind of had a flavor which is closer to the original comics, which started way back in the day. Although it's not exactly absolutely bright and happy and all sunshine as it used to be in the comics, but it is closer to that image, contrary to how the show started in the first place, which was a complete subversion of the whole idea of Archie Comics and Riverdale. We are reintroduced to all the characters in the first and the second episode, and the whole, if I can use the word, mythology of Archie Comics kind of is retold from the very beginning. Archie is introduced again. Jughead, as always, is someone who knows what's happening and who is aware of this whole time jump and time shift and everything. Betty is reintroduced. So is Veronica and Kevin and all the other characters. What I found was a little charming was that we were getting another chance to just take a completely fresh look on all of these characters, which was pretty much detached from whatever they were and they had done in all the previous seasons. Now, Riverdale is definitely notorious for doing everything which is illogical, which doesn't follow any rule book, and which most of all doesn't make any sense most of the times. And that can very well be a put off and an argument for all the people who are not enjoying this season as well. But for me, being a writer, I can appreciate very nicely crafted stories, and at the same time something as baseless and stupid and unthinkable, if I can use the word, I can also kind of enjoy that. And that's precisely the region, the space where Riverdale falls for me. The writers for Riverdale, they somehow don't seem to be following any handbook when it comes to writing, and and sometimes what you watch and what you see is, as an audience, your response is, it's just wrong. It's not even good or bad. It's just wrong. But I think that whole idea, that whole courage to do something like that playfulness, that whole attitude probably is what has worked for this show. And that is something definitely because of which I do sit down and watch it. It's like, so what are they going to do this time? How can they make it even worse, or how are they going to make it bad this time? But anyway, it's still as much fun as it is. But this particular episode, why I'm talking about it and why I thought I would talk about it, it's I think it's well done. It's well produced, it's well structured, and it has that quality which can actually calm you down and let you relax. And that's the kind of entertainment I always crave for. Although right at the end of the episode something happens which pretty much says that things are going to take a different turn, it's going to attain a different flavor, it's going to get into a different region, but that for the next episode, this episode had its charm. Even the songs were fit in well. There were 2 songs which were sung towards the later part of the episode. And one thing which I had always felt while watching Riverdale is that they had been forcefully putting in songs. in their episodes, just because I always felt that Glee worked, and that became a big show, and that was also for teenagers. So they thought that that's the way to go, and we're going to do that as well. But every time Riverdale had used a song, or I had put any song in their show, it was just a massive put off for me. And I'm someone who enjoys song and dance a lot, and still it never worked for me. But in this episode, I felt they got that bit right as well. The two songs, I think they were well picturized. The director of photography did a great job, and it was such a pleasure to watch. Anyway, guys, so that's basically it for today. And how did you guys like it? Do share your thoughts. I know this is a show which has a very polarized kind of a response always, and I've always tried to be as soft and easy on this show as I possibly can. What other shows are you guys watching? I'm also watching Mandalorian season 3. I'm pretty much enjoying it. I did not like the first episode. I thought it was really bad, but then a friend told me that it gets better, so I kept on watching, and it definitely has gotten better, and I'm enjoying it now. Also, I finally started reading Lord of the Rings, the books. I'm like 1/3 in book 1, which is the Fellowship of the Ring, and I can definitely understand now why the Eye of the World, the first book of the Wheel of the Time series, gets all the criticism that it gets. And I think I will talk about it in a different episode sometime soon. So I'm reading The Fellowship of the Ring, and side by side I'm reading The Great Hunt, which is book 2 of the Wheel of Time series as well. And I'm enjoying both the books massively, and I'm very soon going to talk about those 2 books as well. So keep an eye on this channel if you are interested to have my thoughts about these 2 books. Also, guys, if you have come all the way and if you're still watching this, I would be really grateful if you would check out my books. I have authored 7 books. All of them are light, fun reads, and all of them are available on Amazon. I will share the link to the books in the description below. My latest book is called The Part I Left With You, and that's a book which I'm kind of proud of, and I would really like to have your thoughts on this. If any one of you picks it up, do let me know how you liked it. The link will be there in the description below.